Excellencies, the Right Honourable Dame Patsy Reddy, Governor-General of New Zealand, and Sir David Gascoigne.
Thank you, everyone. Please take a seat. I ngā mana, i ngā reo, i ngā iwi o ngā hoe whā. Tēnei aku mihi mahana ki a koutou. Kia ora tātou katoa. Nau mai, haere mai rā, ki te whare kawana. I specifically acknowledge the Honourable James Shaw, Minister of the Crown, our kuia Puhi wāhine Kebbel, our kaumātua Joe Harawera, tēnā koutou. And I offer a very special welcome to today's honours recipients. It's a real pleasure to host this investiture ceremony and bring together 14 honours recipients along with their whānau and friends to recognise the contributions they've made to our country. As Governor-General, I have the authority and the privilege on behalf of Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen of New Zealand, to hold investitures for her and to confer royal honours, our nation's highest honours, on individuals who've made exceptional contributions to their communities and to our nation. Hosting an investiture ceremony is one of the most important duties I perform as Governor-General because it enables me to recognise and thank them on behalf of all New Zealanders for helping to make Aotearoa New Zealand a better place to live. Some recipients have a national public profile, others will be well known in their own communities. But what they have in common is the positive impact they've had on the economic, environmental, social or cultural well-being of our nation. I hope this will be a memorable day for you and for your whānau and friends who've come to witness your investiture and celebrate with you. Catriona McLeod will shortly read a citation for each recipient and invite them to come forward to receive their insignia. And when they do, ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to join me in congratulating and thanking them for their service to our nation.
Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a Knight Companion of the New Zealand Order of Merit, the Right Honourable Sir David Carter of Lyttelton, for services as a Member of Parliament and as Speaker of the House of Representatives. The Right Honourable Sir David Carter was Speaker of the House of Representatives from 2013 to 2017 and held ministerial portfolios in the 4th and 5th national governments. Sir David was first elected to Parliament as the member for Selwyn in 1994 and was MP for Banks Peninsula from 1996 to 1999. He He was Minister for Revenue and held associate ministerial portfolios from 1998 to 1999. He was Minister for Agriculture, Biosecurity and Forestry from 2008 to 2011, before becoming Minister for the newly established Ministry for Primary Industries from 2011 to 2013. Outside of chairing the Business, Standing Orders and Office of Parliament Select Committees in his role as Speaker, he has been a member of the Finance and Expenditure and Government Administration Select Committees and chaired the Primary Production Select Committee between 2002 and 2008. He retired from politics in 2020 after 26 years as a Member of Parliament. From 2018, Sir David was one of New Zealand's permanent representatives at the Inter-Parliamentary Union, IPU, and an active member of the IPU Committee on the Human Rights of Parliamentarians. The Right Honourable Sir David Carter, please come forward.
Arise, Sir David.
Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of an Officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mr. Dennis Aitken of Outram for services to the dairy industry and the community. Dennis Aitken has had a long-term involvement with the Holstein Friesian breed of dairy cattle. He has been a member of Holstein Friesian New Zealand for 48 years and a board director for 10 years, and was previously president, vice president, treasurer, head classifier, inspector, and Otago branch chair. He is the World Holstein Friesian Federation, or WHFF, Oceania's representative on the WHFF's Type Harmonisation Working Group. He has significantly contributed to the development of the traits other than production or top classification system. He was president of the New Zealand Dairy Breeds Federation. Mr. Aitken is a member of Tairi Rotary Club, serving a year as president and helping run the Rotary Youth Leadership Award programme, and has held several roles with the West Tairi Rugby Football Club. Mr. Dennis Aitken, please come forward. Mr. Alan Beck of Eltham for services to agricultural aviation and aviation safety. Alan Beck is a highly experienced agricultural and specialist lift helicopter pilot with more than 20,000 flying hours. He was chairman of the New Zealand Agricultural Aviation Association. Having been victim of a wire strike while piloting a helicopter, he initiated and continues to lead the Down to the Wire campaign, encouraging landowners to remove wires that pose a danger to agricultural pilots. He assisted with leadership in the aerial control of the Port Hills and Tasman fires. He is a volunteer member of Aviation New Zealand. Mr. Beck has supported the Rotokare Scenic Reserve Trust personally and through his business, Beck Helicopters, including delivering materials for walking and upper fence tracks, as well as delivering beehives for a honey project established between the reserve and bees and trees. Mr. Alan Beck, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mrs. Marilyn Cassidy of Clyde, for services to dance. Marilyn Cassidy has taught ballet and dance for 65 years. She has performed in productions for 72 years, including with the Royal Ballet Company in London. She's involved in choreography, writing, music, scenery, and costume design. She has written, directed, and produced many ballets. She has offered dance to a wider group of children with her Dance for Fun classes. She has spent countless hours, often unpaid, helping students and groups prepare for competitions and performances. She has been adjudicator at several dance competitions. Mrs. Cassidy has choreographed productions for the Dunedin Operatic Society, Cromwell Fine Time Theatre Group, Alexandra Blossom Festival, and Alexandra Musical Society. Mrs. Marilyn Cassidy, please come forward. Ms. Vicky Ann Heikel of Pororua for services to heritage preservation and Māori. Vicky Ann Heikel is New Zealand's leading Māori paper conservator. She is field conservator for the National Preservation Office, Alexander Turnbull Library, and formerly worked at the National Library of New Zealand and the National Museum of New Zealand, Te Papa Tongarewa. She has been involved with nationally significant projects, including Pukana, Moments in Māori Performance, and the He Tohu exhibition of Aotearoa's key constitutional documents. For many decades, she's provided mentoring and advice on the care and preservation of paper-based tauanga. Mrs. Heikel is currently on the Ngāti Porou Tauanga Advisory and has been president of the New Zealand Conservators of Cultural Material Collective. Ms. Vicky Ann Heikel, please come forward. Mrs. Helen Johnson of Palmerston North for services to Special Olympics and the community. Helen Johnson has been a coach at 3 Special Olympics Summer World Games, 1 Asia-Pacific Games, and several Trans-Tasman events. She has led the Manawatu team at Special Olympics New Zealand Summer and Winter National Games. She helped organise the 2009 Special Olympics National Games. She has driven the inclusion of Special Olympics athletes in unified and mainstream events. She is a Parafed Manawatu board member and has been national president of Parent to Parent, the support and information network for parents of children with disabilities. Mrs. Johnson has held roles with school boards of trustees, Plunket, Enabling Good Lives Mid-Central Region, and the Palmerston North Street Van. Mrs. Helen Johnson, please come forward. Mr. Jim Kebbel and Ms. Marion Wood of Otaki for services to sustainable business and the community. Jim Kebbel and Marion Wood bought land in Te Horo in 1975 and named it Common Property with the aim of growing organic vegetables. They opened the first Common Sense organic supermarket shop in Wellington in 1991. There are now 5 Common Sense organic stores, while Common Property is a professionally run commercial unit of 11.2 hectares. Common Sense Organics has adopted BPA, free till receipts, and home compostable packaging. It's a living wage employer and the primary supporter of the Porirua School Garden Scheme. Mr. Kebbel and Ms. Wood are founding members of the Organic Traders Association of New Zealand, and Mr. Kebbel was chair of BioGrow New Zealand. Ms. Wood is a member of the Fair Trade Wellington Board and chairs the Soil and Health Association of New Zealand and the Organic Traders Association of New Zealand. Mr. Jim Kebbel and Ms. Marion Wood, please come forward. Mr. Conrad Smith of New Plymouth for services to rugby. Conrad Smith made his All Blacks debut in 2004 and was a member of the All Blacks squad that achieved victory at the 2011 and 2015 Rugby World Cups. Mr. Smith was also a member of the All Blacks squads for the 2007 Rugby World Cup. He was considered to be one of the preeminent centres in world rugby. He has captained the Hurricanes in Super Rugby since 2012 and plays for Wellington in the National Provincial Championship. He made his Wellington debut in 2003 and was signed by the Hurricanes in 2004. Mr. Smith achieved 100 Super Rugby caps with the Hurricanes in 2014. Mr. Conrad Smith, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the Queen's Service Medal, Mr. Stuart Patterson of Ranfurly for services to the community. Stuart Patterson is Chair of Maniatoto Health Services. He managed the funding and building of a new healthcare facility for the people of the Maniatoto, which has enabled the provision of more better quality healthcare services in an area classified as isolated and makes illnesses and injuries less inconvenient for locals. He was Secretary of the Glimmerburn Domain Board and President of the Maniatoto Lions Club, where he's helped to organise the annual Gift Lamb competition, their largest fundraising event. Mr. Patterson is a trustee of G.G. Scott Trust, which distributes funds related to health, education and sport locally. Mr. Stuart Patterson, please come forward. Mr. Neil Pugh of Christchurch for services to the community. Neil Pugh is President of the Lions Club of Christchurch Ferrymead, having been a member and held various positions since 1987. He convenes the club's used spectacles recycling team, sorting and grading spectacles to send to Pacific Islands. He was a member of the Christchurch Civil Defence Emergency Management Team. After the Christchurch earthquakes, he joined East Enders, a volunteer group that repaired the Port Hills walking tracks. He chairs the Youth Heritage Education Trust. Mr. Pugh was property manager for Glenelg Health Camp School and maintenance manager for the Mary Moody Family Trust accommodation facility for intellectually disabled adults. Mr. Neil Pugh, please come forward. Mrs. Helen Puhi of Whanganui for services to the Pacific community and education. Ms. Helen Puhi founded and directs the Born and Raised Pacifica Early Childhood Education Centre, ECE, and the Pacifica Learning Centre in Whanganui. She helped to establish the Pacifica Vision Forum Charitable Trust and develop the Whanganui Welcoming Communities Plan. She chairs the Pacifica Vision Forum Charitable Trust and the Whanganui Pacifica Community Group. She is a member of the government's ECE Advisory Committee and ECE Research Policy Forum, and co-authored the government-commissioned Pacifica Early Childhood Scoping Report. Ms. Puhi is a lead organiser for the Whanganui Festival of Cultures and a leader of the Whanganui Fijian Community Group. Ms. Helen Puhi, please come forward. Mrs. Fran Rawling of Dunedin for services to Heritage Rose Preservation. Fran Rawling is the former president of Heritage Roses New Zealand Incorporated. She's currently Otago convener, lead member of the New Zealand National Heritage Rose Register team, and New Zealand representative to the World Federation of Rose Societies Conservation and Heritage Committee. She has convened conferences and organised a seminar for public collection curators. She drove the restoration of Dunedin Northern Cemetery and the establishment of a collection of heritage roses from when the Victorian-era cemetery was active. Mrs. Rawling has organised and supervised several beautification and conservation plantings in Otago and initiated annual heritage rose celebrations. Mrs. Fran Rawling, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the New Zealand Antarctic Medal, the late Mr. Brian Fitzgerald of Nelson for services to Antarctic exploration and heritage. The late Brian Fitzgerald was the first New Zealander to survey Antarctica as the only official surveyor on the New Zealand official government expedition to Antarctica in 1957-58. Mr. Fitzgerald's objective was to produce topographic mapping of as much territory as possible during this expedition. This work was essential to record and interpret the results of the geologists on this expedition and the work of the host of Antarctic scientists that were to do research in future years. There was no existing detailed topographic mapping or positioning at the time. Without dog teams, they travelled by man-hauling and backpacking methods in unexplored terrain. They lived in tents throughout the expedition, even when returning to Scott Base. He returned in 1958-59 as deputy leader of the 2nd New Zealand Official Geological and Survey Antarctic Expedition. Under his leadership, his team produced 6 medium-scale maps of priority features and areas of large stretches of Antarctic Ross dependency and its coastline. This provided a valuable mapping and control survey framework for future scientific research work. He developed innovative methods of mapping extensive and difficult Antarctic terrain, providing the initial impetus and framework for more than 60 years of cooperative surveying, mapping, and scientific research. He has since published 2 books, Surveying the Antarctic in 2012 and Return to the Antarctic 2017. In his own time and without financial support, he gathered logbooks and photographs from his teammates on the expeditions in order to provide an accurate portrayal of life travelling to and in the Antarctic between 1957 and 1959. Mr. Fitzgerald's books provide valuable insight into the contributions of the New Zealand government and its field operations in the early years of the international research effort undertaken in the Antarctic. The late Mr. Brian Fitzgerald insignia will be received by his daughter, Catherine Fitzgerald. Please come forward. Your Excellency, the investiture has concluded.
Our honours system is our nation's highest public affirmation of outstanding individual achievement. It reinforces values and behaviours that sustain our communities and help our nation thrive and prosper. And these include service, courage, manaakitanga, and the pursuit of knowledge and excellence. By using their talents to make ours a better society, whether by service to their communities, or by their leadership in diverse fields of endeavour, or their commitment to excellence in their own field of expertise, our recipients have set a fine example to others. To our recipients, it's been a real privilege to hear your stories today. You've demonstrated determination, commitment and compassion in your daily lives. And in your own way, each of you has contributed to the well-being of our people and our nation. In some cases, your influence and the positive impact of your work has extended beyond our shores. Your achievements and the stories we've heard reflect the spirit of the words of the late great Nelson Mandela when he said, "What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It's what difference we have made to the lives of others that will determine the significance of the life we lead." On behalf of all New Zealanders, I thank you for the difference you have made, for helping to make Aotearoa New Zealand a better place to live. Whether by dedicating your lives to the public good, achieving distinction in your chosen field, or inspiring others with your leadership. Please wear your insignia with pride, knowing that your contributions are recognised and valued, and others are inspired by your example. Kia ora hui tātou katoa. Ladies and gentlemen, that almost brings to a close the formal part of today's ceremony. But before we break for refreshments, I wonder if you might stand and join me in singing our national anthem.